Hi. It's been a while. Let's talk about it. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today I'm here to do my July TBR video, as well as just kind of give you guys like a recap of like where I've been and what I've been up to, and just kind of chat a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start with the books, and then that way if those who are just here for the books can leave afterwards, but then like to also, if the people that want to kind of hear what I've been up to, they can stay till the end. So let's talk about the books I do want to try to read in the month of July. The first book is With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. This is the Sleep When I'm Dead book club pick for the month of July. If you didn't know, I have my own book club here on my channel. It is called Sleep When I'm Dead. It's where we read newer release thrillers, and this month we're reading the new Riley Sager, and I'm going to have one of my besties, Gwen, from the channel Gwendolyn Kinsinger. The live show will be Monday, July 28th here on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we will be talking and discussing all the details about With a Vengeance. I will say the last book by Riley Sager was a big flop for me, and I'm kind of nervous going into this one, but this is the new Riley Sager. It's an auto by author for me, so I'm very excited, and this one seems very, very, very different from his regular books. So let's talk about what this book's about. One train, no stops, a deadly game of survival and revenge. In 1942, 6 people destroyed Anna Matherson's family. 12 years later, she's ready for revenge. Under false pretenses, Anna has lured those responsible for her family's downfall onto a luxury train from Philadelphia to Chicago, an overnight journey of 13 hours. Her goal, confront the people who've wronged her, get them to confess for the crimes, and deliver them into the hands of the authorities waiting at the end of the line. But Anna's plan is quickly derailed by the murder of one of the passengers. As the train barrels through the night, it becomes clear that someone else on board is enacting their own form of revenge, and that they won't stop until everyone else is dead. With time running out before the train reaches its destination, Anna is forced to hunt the killer in the midst while protecting the people she hates the most. In order to destroy her enemies, she must first save them, even if it means putting her own life at risk. So it's definitely giving me like Agatha Christie vibes, and I'm very excited. It's very different from him, and I'm excited to see what this one's about. So hopefully you guys will pick up a copy. Join me and Gwen here on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern, July 28th. And also check out the Discord. I always have that linked in all my videos. Okay, moving on. I will say the past like 2 months, I've really been like embracing mood reading. So it's like whether like picking up a random book on my shelf, or just like finding a book that I find in the bookstore, or a book that I heard about and I go to the library and it's available. So I am really honing into that mood reading. So I have about 7 more books that I have like higher on my priority. So let's talk about those. So the first set of books are all arcs I have from NetGalley, and the first one I want to talk about is The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain by Hannah Brown. So last year I read The Mistakes We Never Made, also by Hannah Brown. I think it was her debut fictional romance book, and I absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars, and I don't hear anyone else talking about it. So now she has a newer book that came out. It is The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain, and it says it's number 2. I believe it follows one of the friends that was mentioned in the first book, so it probably could be read as a standalone, but I'm super excited to read this one. It says, Sybil can't wait to escape to a tropical paradise, all expenses paid. Well, technically the expenses were paid last year when she was supposed to honeymoon in Hawaii with her then fiance Jamie, but the wedding didn't go as planned, and now she's using those hotel vouchers to enjoy some Mai Tais, med spas, and me time. But she nearly plunges backwards into an infinity pool when she sees Jamie there too. He's on a work trip representing his family's firm alongside a gorgeous tangerine bikini clad colleague. Desperate to save face in front of the ex who broke her heart at the altar, Sybil accidentally, on purpose, blurts out that she's vacationing with her boyfriend. But what starts as a harmless lie soon spirals into an ex-fiance fiasco when Sebastian, the second of Sybil's 3 failed engagements, pops by fresh off a photography gig. Seb's always up for a good time and happy to play along, sparking unexpected jealousy in Jamie. So, love, like, getaway tropical romances. This also sounds like it could be messy in such great ways, so I'm very excited to read this one. I think this is actually going to be my next read, so I'm very excited to read this one. The next book is Don't Let Him In by Lisa Joel. Lisa Joel is a very interesting author for me because I feel like I really enjoy her books, but then every once in a while there's that one book that just like wows me. So I'm very excited about this one. I've been seeing a lot of like advertisement on social media for this one. This says 3 women are connected by one man in this kaleidoscope thriller. He's the perfect man, he's a perfect lie. Nina Swan is intrigued when she receives a condolence card from Nick Radcliffe, an old friend of her late husband, who is looking to connect after her husband's unexpected death. Nick is a man of substance and good taste. He has a smile that could melt the coldest heart and knack for putting others at ease. But to Nina's adult daughter, Ash, Nick seems too slick, too polished, too good to be true. Without telling her mother, Ash begins digging into Nick's past. What she finds is more unsettling. Martha is a florist living in a neighborhood town with her infant daughter and her devoted husband. But lately, her husband has been traveling more and more frequently for work, disappearing for days at a time. When Martha questions him about his frequent absences, he always has a legitimate explanation, and Martha can't share the feeling that something isn't right. Nina, Martha, and Ash are in a collision course of shocking truths that is far darker than anyone could imagine. And all 3 are about to wish that they heeded the same warning. Don't let him in, but the past won't stay buried. So, again, sounds kind of messy, like connections and lies. I love that. So I'm very excited to read this one. And then the third arc that I want to get to this month is Smile for the Cameras by Miranda Smith. So fun fact, when I first got on NetGalley, Miranda Smith was the first author that I read from that was approved for it. I have a little nostalgic moment for that. So this is her newest release that also gets published at the end of June. An actress desperate to reclaim her fame must survive the real life plot of a horror film that made her famous in a psychological, twisted, locked room thriller influenced by 90s slashers. 20 years ago, Ella Winters was the it girl. She made a name of herself in Hollywood and throughout America as the final survival in a cult classic / Grad Night. Or the film is called Grad Night. But the real horror is what happened when the cameras weren't rolling. Something terrible that Ella and her co-stars agreed to never speak about. Shortly after the movie's premiere, Ella disappeared from the acting scene under the pretenses of caring for her ailing mother, hoping for a quiet life out of the spotlight to ease her guilty mind. Now, after her mother's passing, Ella has decided to return to the silver screen, and with the cast and crew of Grad Night in the process of filming a reunion documentary, Ella has the perfect ticket back into Hollywood's good graces. Weighed down by the secret she's been keeping all those years, Ella apprehensively makes the trip onto the original set, a cabin in rural Tennessee, to reunite with her castmates for the first time in over a decade. But when the actors begin to meet the exact gruesome fates of the characters they originally played, falling victims to someone dressed as the Grad Night villain, it's clear that their secret is out. Now the question, can the final girl survive one last nightmare? This is giving me like Scream meets Mr. Magic. I don't know why, but those two kind of go together, and I love the vibes that this book is giving. So I'm very excited to read this one very shortly. Okay, moving on to a few physical books that I have that I'm very excited to read. Let's talk about these. Switching up a little bit with like a different genre, kind of like a sci-fi element, I have the newest aardvark pick for the month of June, which is the Memory Collectors. This just sounds so good, so unique, and I'm very excited to see what I think about this one. What would you do if you could spend an hour in your past? 4 strangers in the beach town of California are about to find out. Elizabeth aches for one more precious hour with her son who died of a senseless accident. Andy is desperate to find his first love who vanished after a whirlwind romance. Logan craves the rush of surfing and mountain climbing, yearning to reclaim the freedom he lost after a misstep landed him in a wheelchair. Brooke is looking for an hour of relief from the guilt of an unforgivable mistake. Enter Arion Expeditions, a groundbreaking time travel invention of Mark Saunders, which allows lucky clients the chance to spend an hour in their past. Even though Arion's technology ensures time travel can't alter the future, all 4 clients, including Mark's ex-wife Elizabeth, yearns to revisit the hour that changed their lives forever. But when their hour extends beyond 60 minutes, they find themselves stranded in the past. And as their paths intertwine unexpectedly, they unearth the shocking secrets hidden in the shadows of their shared history. All their lives were shattered the same night on a secluded highway by the beach. As they delve into the hidden truths of the perpetual hour, a startling revelation emerges. They are not alone. Someone else is present, harboring deadly intentions. So, this just sounds so good. It's kind of got like a sci-fi, but it's also got that thriller mystery vibe to it. So I'm very excited to read this one. Let's kick it back to a romance. I've had this book on my shelf for a while. I was so excited to read it. It was one of those books I saw in the bookstore. I was like, I really want to read this, but I would never buy it for myself. And then luckily someone bought it for me for, I think, my birthday. And I'm very excited to read The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I heard this is a little bit of a steamy romance, so I'm very excited. Suddenly unemployed and on the brink of eviction, Cassie Evans is left with two choices: get a new job and fast, or fire up her long untouched OnlyFans account. But the job market is terrible, and as for OnlyFans, well, there's a reason she can't go back. Just when all hope seems lost, an ad for a live-in nanny position appears to be the solution to all her problems. It's almost too perfect until she meets her employer. Aiden Reed, executive chef and DILF extraordinaire, is far from the stuffy single dad Cassie was imagining. He shocks her when he tells her she's the most qualified applicant he's met in weeks and practically begs her to take the job. The idea of living under the same roof of Aiden feels dangerous, but with no other option, she decides to stay with him and his adoringly daughter Sophie. Cassie soon discovers that Aiden is not a stranger at all, but instead someone who is very familiar with her, or at least her body. Given that he doesn't remember her, Cassie is faced with the impossible situation. As their relationship heats to temperatures hotter than those reached in any kitchen Aiden has ever worked in, Cassie struggles with telling Aiden the truth and the more terrifying possibility, losing the best chance of happiness she's ever had. So, spicy! I think this book also has like, yeah, it has like text messages and pictures. Here's like a cell phone text. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. Another book I saw an ad on TikTok. I was like, ooh, that book sounds good. And I recognized the author. I was like, wait a minute, I have a book by that author on my shelf that I haven't touched yet. So it is Like It Never Was by Faith Gardner. This one sounds really interesting. The deeper the secret, the darker the shadow. 10 years ago, Jolene nearly killed her friend Elizabeth in a gruesome accident, and no one has any idea why, not even Elizabeth. Jolene has been trying to outrun the guilt ever since, wandering from place to place and career to career. So she's shocked after her latest move, she runs into the very person she's been trying to avoid for 10 years. Elizabeth still lives with scars from the accident, and she's still clueless about what happened that fateful night. As the two women rekindle a friendship, Elizabeth's increasingly disturbing behavior makes Jolene wonder if it's her own guilt stalking her or if Elizabeth finally enacting her revenge. So I love a good short synopsis for a thriller. Oh, this was actually gifted to me by Summer for my birthday. I kept the note on this one. Thank you so much, Summer. I'm really excited to read this one. Hopefully it's a good fast-paced thriller. And then the last physical book that I want to talk about is The Disappearing Act by Catherine Steadman. I've only read and liked one other book by this author, and that was The Family Game. So I'm very nervous, but I definitely want to read this one because it sounds so interesting. This one I kind of want to just read briefly. It says a British actress discovers the dark side of Hollywood when she's the only witness to a sudden disappearance of a woman she meets at an audition. And it also says it's more of a psychological thriller, so I'm very excited. And plus this gives like great summer vibes as well. So adding this one to the pile. Alright guys, that is all of the books that I plan or would like to get to in the month of July, but again, no promises except for With a Vengeance, obviously because it's for my book club. But now I kind of just want to give you guys like a little bit of a chat because as you can tell, I haven't been uploading videos lately and I really hate that, but I have been struggling like recently for the past 2 months, I would say since the end of April, and I hate that it's affecting, you know, my creative outlet, which is videos and my reading and stuff like that. So if you haven't like been following me or paying attention to like my Instagram and stuff like that, just a lot has been going on in my life, and I think I'm at a place where I'm ready to like get things back to normal, and I just want to kind of be transparent about it. I used to promise like a video once a week, and that's still a goal of mine, but again, sometimes that's not going to be the case every single week. So I just want to be transparent about that. I just want to be open and transparent. I've had a lot going on with my normal day job. you know, my grown-up job, and then we've had a few health issues with 2 of my 3 dogs. Also, I did host a 24-hour reading sprint on June 20th, I believe was the day, and that was so successful. Thank you to everyone who donated for Lindsay. If you did not participate or catch that, I hosted a 24-hour reading sprint to honor my friend Lindsay, who is battling stage 4 melanoma skin cancer, and it has been rapidly, you know, kicking her down, and I'm just trying to do as much as I can. So thank you to everyone who donated. Like, Lindsay is just so over the moon, and we raised almost $1,600, like just shy of $1,600, and I cannot say thank you enough. Thank you everyone who was able to participate, whether they shared, tuned in, donated. It really does mean a lot to me. We're still doing a few things. We've created some t-shirts that we're selling, so we just started that, so we're in the middle of all that. But just like, it's just been rough. It's been a rough 2 months, and I just needed to like take a back seat on video making. There's quite a bit of videos that I like started, but they just never went anywhere, so I apologize for that. Thank you guys so much for being so like understanding, but I think I'm at a place where I am ready to make more content. And yeah, so thank you so much for being patient with me and just like allowing me to take a little bit more of a back seat when it comes to like formal videos. I really appreciate that. So enough of the sappiness. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really does help out my channel. It does, you know, it pushes out my videos and my channel out to everyone else. And if you hit that thumbs up button, that means you're a rock star. So don't hesitate. But in all seriousness, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone has a great reading month in the month of July. I hope you guys will join us for the Riley Sager discussion, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simple